Welcome to Crackin a Cold One. I'm John.
I'm Albert.
And I'm Richard. Welcome to our second podcast, and today we're going to speak about why some friendships fail over time. So this can be people not having similar interests, similar goals, similar mindsets. What do you guys have to say about that?
I think it's not really about similar goals. It's more about like similar mindsets. Like you just don't want to have people around you with negative energy, if that makes sense, you know?
Or without wanting to pursue something better than what they are at.
Exactly. Like for example, you got two people like you ain't gotta be like have the same goal ahead of you. You could be like two completely different people, but still be supporting each other with their, I guess, endeavor.
Their own goals.
With their own goals, exactly.
Their own personal goals.
But then some people that are closed-minded, they just bring you down from the very start. They say your plan's not even. It's like there's no logic to your plan, and they just.
I mean, sometimes it's good having friends that are straight cut to the point with you.
But then,
but when it's like time after time after time after time,
you could tell over time.
Exactly.
So then that really doesn't even fall under like being a friend. That just kind of falls under someone who pretends to be your friend, just for you to stick around for having.
I think
their
they're there
right?
just for the convenience of
having
some
having like someone's attention, just to be there, hang around them. Maybe because they see success, but they don't really want to see them succeeding.
And then when they see you like almost succeeding or getting into the grind, they just pull apart because they start getting envious, you know? If you feel what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Once they start seeing you succeed at something?
Yeah, they just start pulling apart from like the group you guys have.
So if this was on a timeline, how would you say, like, if when you first meet a friend, how does that start off?
I feel like there's not a specific timeline for that. Like, for example, like kind of how I met you. Like we weren't like friends right away, you know. Yeah. Like the first time I met you, went back to college, came back to work. And then like the second time around, that's kind of when we became homies, you know.
Yeah, the first time I met you, you wanted to fuck me up.
Yeah, you see, I don't remember wanting to fuck you up, so that's not the story. We're friends now, so it don't even matter.
No, but I feel like this is not really a timeline that. A specific timeline you hope for. Like if it happens, it happens, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you're homies with someone, like, okay, cool. Like you became homies with someone.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you make friends with someone? Like what, like kind of pick out the characteristics of someone you look for when you, kind of like their vibe and energy.
I feel like just naturally you just become friends with someone that has like similar likes to you. Like you guys like the same things. You guys like.
It doesn't even have to be that. Like you don't when you first meet someone, you don't know their interests and goals. That's not until later, until you find out who they are. You know, that kind of starts off with their vibe and their energy.
I think you call them friends at the beginning because you guys are just like barely getting to know each other. You don't know them fully. You don't say, oh, that's someone I barely know. You just say, oh yeah, that's my friend. You know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you could say like, yeah, I know him, but I'm not too close to him.
Yeah,
like you know, I mean, you don't call them a friend. Sometimes you don't call them like your enemy, right? It's just someone you know.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, I feel like as you get older, though, you kind of just start weaving out those people that you don't actually consider friends. And, like, your circle of friends or people you're hanging out with just gets a lot smaller, you know?
Exactly.
Like, as time goes on.
So, over time, what do you pick out on those people? Like, those certain types of people, what do you pick out from them? Like what dictates whether they're your friend or not? What dictates whether you want to keep them in that circle?
I think it's whether you can trust them or not.
I think one of the things that I look for is respect. That's a really big part, a really big role that I choose is respect.
Well, I think respect is like one of the first things that happens in a friendship.
Yeah,
that's why you even call them a friend at that point.
From that respect,
I think from the very start, like both of you respect each other. That's why you guys become closer. But then after a certain time, you start feeling them out, and you're like
picking out that trustworthy. They become trustworthy.
This guy is, you know.
Yeah. Also, like loyalty is a big part of it. You know.
Oh, definitely, man.
Like for example, like you, like how you and John met for the first time. He said something bad to me, but me and him talk like that. You just out of nowhere, or not out of nowhere, but you're like right next to me. You're like oh, don't talk to that fool like that. You know.
Yeah, I see what you mean. That's
like
just being a little overprotective.
Yeah, like if we were on the streets, like I know you got my back.
Yeah,
put it that way, for both of you.
Yeah.
Nah, he would have just.
Like for example, you should never question. Like for a friend, you should never question their respect, like their honesty, their trustworthy, their loyalty. That should never be like questioned.
Yeah, like the other day I saw this quote. It's not about who's real in your face. It's about who stays loyal behind your back. So really, that kind of comes down to they can act like they're your friend in front of you, like they're being two-faced. You know, they act like they're your friend. They're rooting for you. They're all for you. But once you turn your back on them, they're a completely different person that could be talking shit.
I think that's one of the main reasons some friendships fail is because you don't know what they're really saying about like behind your back, but you're like you hear something from someone else and you question yourself and you're just like, do I really think he really said this, or is that other person trying to
Like mess something up?
Yeah, mess our friendship up.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Well, like if someone's talking shit to you, like let's just say I'm coming up to Albert and I'm talking shit about you to Albert, that I kind of feel like that would make, like Albert, wouldn't you make that suspicious that someone else that I'm talking shit about you too?
Yeah, would.
Would you really? Like
Yeah.
that's how I feel. A lot of people are too. A lot of people that, 'cause they're so-called friends, they're not really your friends. Do that often, man. I mean, it's just hard. It's easy to kind of pick out, man. Because how many friends would you call close friends for your, like to yourself?
Like close friends, like people I could actually rely on that are like my friends.
Yeah, like
I think there's probably like a handful, but there's
Not much.
I
Not
know-
not more than I can count with my hands, bro. Like with my fingers.
at least
Not more.
Well, for me, I know I don't have like friends that I talk to every day, but I know if I hit them up, they'll be down for anything, and the same for them. If they hit me up, I'll be there for them too.
would you consider them really close friends though? Like they're in your circle?
not really close, but you know, I still have like respect and all those other values for them.
Yeah, it's just my point is kind of like who's in your circle. Like if you had to pick a couple ride or dies, how many do you have? Like how many of those do you really have?
Honestly, I can't think of I can't name
Like-
them
like
all
an actual
now,
number
but-
right now?
Outside of us, is there? Because honestly, in my
I put it this way,
opinion, aside from us,
Yeah, there's like a handful.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I have
Like
probably
4 or
like
5.
one other friend. That's it.
Aside from us two, probably like two for
Yeah,
me, like 2 or 3.
At the most for me, one. I don't know. I can't. I feel like I've gone through so many failed friendships for that same reason that I only have like you guys and like one other friend that I know.
Yeah, like what
Back
happened over the weekend.
Yes, man.
But
Do you
for
want to
me,
explain it?
Yeah, we should talk.
do you
want
wanna
to
explain that? Go ahead. No, I
Go-
feel
go-
like-
go for it, go for it, go for it.
Explain it. Explain what were we gonna do
c-
on Saturday?
so we had a pizza challenge, right? 54 inches by 54 inches.
That was a
You
huge
get up
ass
to
pizza.
that's a huge pizza. You get
What
8
was
people.
it? Something like
8
200
people to
slices?
complete it.
200 slices.
I don't know, but it weighed about 50 pounds or so, a little
50
over.
pounds,
50
200 slices, 200. It was 2,916 square inches.
Square inches.
Square inches of pizza.
And that pizza costs $299. But if you finish the challenge and you finish eating the whole pizza within 2 hours, you get like the whole team gets $1,000 and a refund for what they paid for the pizza. So
That's a good ass deal.
yeah,
So
so
8 people, that's $125 per person.
so going into this, we were like, okay, cool, like let's hit up our homies, you know? Like we got going in, we had 8 total that we thought we had. Last minute though, like that morning of when we were about to leave.
It sounded like a call center. Up
Yeah.
there.
we were ready
Everybody
to
was
go. We
calling
had
left and right.
We had
like
like
people
5
started
people on
dropping
standby, and
people
then-
started dropping off like flies.
Yeah.
So what we do, all 3 of us, we're just calling up people to see if they'd be willing to do it, but it was like way too late notice.
But like that kind of runs back to the same thing. Like you can't rely on certain people because of those failed friendships. But that ultimately, I think that ends it off with their trust.
That's just kind of like an example of something, you know.
But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
what I think happened on Saturday is that not everybody's. I get that not everybody's trust or like there for you, but how do I say?
Can't rely on them.
You can't rely on them.
as long as
but
they,
then
if they were to at least give you a heads up, you know.
Yeah. Others are like
Yeah, you
busy.
see-
we
you see what
understand
happened?
others have lives.
What happened was, I had called them the night before to confirm that they were coming. They said yes. The same day, I had told them. I started calling them, texting them, and they didn't come through. So at that point, I knew that they weren't gonna come through. But yeah, I mean that ultimately just goes down to for them not being loyal, not being honest, trustworthy. I would just say that for the main reasons of my failed friendships is probably the trust.
Trust.
Yeah, for me,
losing somebody's trust.
For me, it's the same thing. It's the trust.
Is there any
trust-
story you want to
The
share?
trust and the respect.
Any story you guys want to share? I mean, that's
Yeah.
my story right there. Lost a couple
I don't-
friends there.
I don't really think I have like a pretty bad story. I don't have one.
I think Albert has something to share with us today.
Nah, I can't share that story right now. I can't.
Okay.
Nah, but
I don't want to force anything.
No, yeah, but honestly, like after, but what's it called? Like over time though, you start realizing like as like for example, as the years go by and you look back into like your previous years, you start realizing that your circle of friends just got smaller and smaller and smaller. It's just like as the years go by, you're just kind of like weaving out the people that are kind of just been there just because.
It's like
Not
we
really-
said earlier. It's like some of us have goals that we're like driven to get to, and then others are.
And
just
obviously,
living
like we
life,
have
you
friends
know?
that we do certain things with. Like we don't do everything together, like us two.
Yeah.
There's a couple friends that we, for example,
We
you
just
might
hang
might
out
go
with
to
them,
like a party with. Might just go to like
get food.
get food or something. Like it's like some like let's be realistic. We don't just do everything together either. You know.
No, we
No.
live like hours away from each other.
Yeah.
we still keep in touch. Like
yeah, like every day.
Yeah. Every day.
But for the most part, we have friends that we somewhat prioritize, but we don't consider them as close friends as we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like me after college, like I won't consider any of them like my best friends over there. You know.
Yeah.
Like I'll consider them friends because like I go out with them, like we help each other with things like with classwork and stuff. But I don't really consider them like my close friends to where I could kind of say like they're like my brothers because I don't know them
Yeah,
like that
I feel
either.
you.
You know?
Well, in college, you hardly even know their name.
Yeah, bro.
You don't
Oh,
even
yeah.
know the person sitting next to you.
No, I
That's
think
pretty
we
hard.
all meet people in college though. Like you kind of network with people, you meet people around who you sit around, obviously. But like that, it's the same thing.
It's
you
more
just
of
know them.
in college. I feel like it's more just of a networking type of environment. You like there you hang around people that will help you get you to the top, and you'll help them get to the top as well.
Just
If
helping
that
each
makes
other
sense.
out. Yeah,
Exactly. You're not really there to. I mean, yeah, you're there to socialize and everything, but the ultimate goal is to basically do as best as you can
Yeah.
to try to get the best job that you can.
True.
You know.
So let's go back to talking about people with. I feel like we should just touch more a little bit on people that have that fake mask on, like those leeches, those leech people.
Damn,
Yeah.
bro. Nah, when we be playing Call of Duty, bro, you be leeching on. You be
On the
leeching on
loot?
me, bro.
On
Yeah,
the
on the,
loot?
on the loot.
No, I think
Nah,
that's.
but give us an example though.
I mean, kind of like what John said. I mean, people just stick around, just to stick around. They're not really there, to be your friend, to support you, to really, to support your goals. Really, they're just there to leech on you, for your attention, for just to have you there. Maybe even to like knock you down, like John said. I felt this a couple times. A couple friends I had before. I would hang around them, and it felt like oh he said, like this person said, X person said, oh yeah, I want to see you doing good. You guys are my brothers, A1. You guys are my.
Like they make you
Day
like
ones.
like they tell you the right things, right? But like
And
as
then
soon as they're not right in front of you, like they do something else.
They,
They
act,
say
they
something
act
else.
different.
Yeah,
They even act
someone-
different in front of other people.
Mhm.
They even like once like a different friend shows up, it's like they
There's
start.
different
They start
persona.
I feel like-
they're
I
a
feel
whole
like-
different person.
I feel like all that, like even like I mean we're pretty young, but I was gonna say young years, but we're pretty young. But like years before us, is more just like on their social status. They want to feel like like for me, I didn't really care like anything like about social status. I just wanted to feel like comfortable. I want to have a good time with the people I was around with.
A
Mhm.
lot of people care who has this, who has that. Like, for me, I don't. If you're my friend, I don't care if you live
That
in
plays such a big
box
thing.
anywhere.
That plays such
I'll
a big
be
thing.
with
Though.
you. You know,
We
I'll
talked
chill.
about that earlier too,
Mhm.
about social media having to be a big part of that, right?
Yeah,
Like
social
social media has a lot to do with oh wait, excuse me. That-
Damn, bruh.
That plays
all
that plays
you
that
got
plays
all the girls in shit.
sorry.
Who's calling? We got a prank call.
Now you gotta put that on speaker now, bruh.
Nah,
Hello.
you don't want to see that right now.
Now go ahead though.
Where was I? I totally lost where I was
you
going.
were talking about the social media.
Social
and,
media. So it plays a big role. People use Instagram. They only post when they're doing good, right? No one goes on Instagram posting a picture of them crying or something when they're sad.
Well,
Actually,
obviously,
I have a
you know what I'm saying?
I have a good example of this. When I was I'm still in college, but like my first year and a half, I was in a club or a program called Ingenious Unidos. It was more of a club, right?
Mhm.
And right there, you have like a mentor given to you. This was still when I was an engineering major, and mine I still keep in touch with him to now, even though I'm not an engineering major. We see each other. We still say what's up. He still gives me guidance and all that. And then I see on his Instagram stories that he said that's exactly what he said, that people only post when they're doing good.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
he said he was to start posting everything he did bad, so then now it gives him more motivation to do good. So for example, it was like one of his like midterms that he failed, like he completely blew it. He got like a 20-30% on it. So then he said, I'm gonna be posting everything I did wrong for that midterm, and after that I'm gonna start posting everything I'm gonna do for the next midterm to get a better score. So that's exactly what he did. He posted how he prepared for that first midterm, how like what he struggled with, like why he didn't do what he was supposed to do to get a better grade. And then for that, like he didn't care if other people knew what score he had. He really didn't care because he's like, I know I'm gonna do better than this.
Well, at the end of the day, you don't have to care about what
Yeah.
everyone else thinks, but what
Yeah,
makes
exactly.
you
But
happy.
what I'm trying to get to is that after that, I just made him drive even harder, study
Yeah.
harder. He's like, every time he went to office hours, he's like, okay, today's my office hours day. And then when that next midterm came, he posted that grade too. It was like a high 89 or like 89, 90%. And I was like, oh dang, like this is really good. Like this gives me motivation. You
Yeah,
know?
man, I like that. That's because that he's showing us how you don't even need friends at that point, because he's using his own self motivation to motivate himself. Like he's putting out that persona of like, oh, I'm this guy going to these, doing this work. You know, when you guys doing this, I'm working. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And he pretty much helped himself out in the end. So instead of having a friend to be there for him, he was there for himself.
I mean, obviously,
Those
still like
posts.
he still had like friends with him, like study sessions and that. But
Definitely.
that just made him having to post all like his failures, made his drive and his work ethic even harder.
Yeah. It's kind of like that self motivation, but through social media.
I think you
manipulating
gotta
it.
be
Exactly.
brave to post that too.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, because everybody just wants to show the good side, like you guys mentioned earlier.
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to be posting, getting a car crash out here. Car crash. Like, nah, not really.
It's crazy
man.
what people do.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what else you guys want to add about friendships, how they fell. Is there anything you guys want to add to that?
I think.
Or how do you friends, at least your close friends, how do they become your family? How do you consider them your family?
That's a tough one.
Man, it ultimately just comes down to, I want to say the first thing has to be trust, man. For me to bring somebody home, it really has to be trust. Like I
I
don't
consider them as family,
as
right?
family, man. Like I don't just bring anybody home, Like talking to some random friend, you barely know them. You're not just gonna bring them home right away, It's
Mhm.
like before you share your home to someone, and you kind of have to open up a certain type of way. Kind of makes them family a little bit. So
I think you have to be comfortable around them too.
yeah,
Like, you just we just chill, dude, and it's always just talking and talking. We're not even quiet for a long ass time.
Yeah.
We're just talking, dude.
I
the
could
whole
give a
time,
good
and
example with John. Like my sisters, all of my family basically. My grandma knows John. My aunt from Mexico knows John.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know. It's not even weird either. Like he comes over. Like my mom's like, okay, cool. Like she'll even offer him food and everything. Like it's cool. Like if he's like a brother.
Yeah.
Like that. That's kind of how it is.
Have you guys ever heard the quote, blood is thicker than water?
I have not.
I
Bro.
haven't. I haven't.
Please
it.
explain.
Alright,
that.
so this is kind of like you have a relationship with someone in your family, and that they're blood, right? They're blood,
Yeah.
and you
Mhm.
consider someone who is outside of your family as water. So those relationships between family should be closer, right? I mean, they technically should be closer
Yeah.
because you've known
In
them.
theory, yeah. They
through-
should.
in
They should
theory,
be.
they should be closer, but
But I think even being your family, they could do you like the
yeah,
dirty.
that's my
Yeah.
point. That's my point where I'm trying to get
And
with
then
this.
there's people that are completely strangers, not strangers, but completely strangers because they're your friends. They're not really like
Like
Not
blood
s-
family.
maybe not strangers, but like they're not family, they're not
Yeah,
blood. That's exactly what I'm trying to
But-
say. So maybe
but they
that.
act more like family than you're actually.
Exactly.
than
Yeah,
you're
trust.
actually
Yeah,
family
trust
does,
me.
yeah.
I could. Yeah, I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
Trust.
So what's that water type thing example? How does that make someone blood? Like because I consider more you guys is like blood to me. It's like you guys is or not really my family, but it's like blood. So what do you guys think would really? How do you guys translate from? How does it go from being a friend to transforming that into bringing that into family?
That's a pretty tough one. I think it just happens.
Yeah, I don't really know how to explain it. There's not really like a guide for me to really say. Like
what
that just kind of
made-
evolves for it, you know.
I
Like for John, it was
We
really
just
like
have
over. It was
good
like it was just
chemistry.
yeah.
Like,
It was like
all of us
over
just
time
have-
too.
Yeah.
Like
So-
like we're not the same either. Like we're a little different too. Like with his personality compared to mine,
Yeah.
but it kind of just like meshes together, you know.
I mean, we're not gonna say we don't bump heads, cause
Yeah, because we do. We
and
always
then-
we always
Oh,
argue.
nah, I know.
Yeah, we always argue about everything, but like,
But
like-
we're just playing around.
Yeah.
But, you know, we get each other. and
but also
we're-
when we do argue about stuff, it's to like how like, it's because we both think we have a certain knowledge about something, and that arguing kind of helps us get the other person who's I don't want to say wrong, but I just want to say
But I think we understand that. Like, yeah, we're probably wrong. and
yeah, we're just really passionate about what we talk about. Put it that way.
yeah. And
Nah,
then
you
we
guys-
don't
I
go-
feel like you guys just want to be right all the damn time.
And then we're not mad with each other like 24/7. You know,
Yeah,
some
we
people
can't.
just go days without talking. And I'm just like,
Oh no, I mean I've seen you guys argue. We've been playing we play Xbox one day. You guys talk shit.
What do you mean Xbox, bro?
Xbox
Hey,
people,
pass-
they're not loyal. If you play Xbox, you're not loyal.
Give me another beer, bro. Another beer.
Another beer. Oh.
Wait. We
Oh.
got people on set now.
Oh.
We evolved a little bit.
Oh, hello.
got stacked. In the fridge.
From
We have some in
from the fridge.
Thank you.
Oh, I messed up the.
Can you grab two, please? Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So
Can you put these over there, John?
we're sorry. Quick beer break. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's
I
I'm
think
losing my
I think
focus.
That's it for
That's kinda-
today's podcast.
You think that's gonna wrap it up?
Yeah, that's kind of it though. But like, if you guys have like any other, like, share with us like your guys' experiences, like with your guys' friendships that that have failed over time or not necessarily failed over time. Like share also like your friendships that are now families also at the same time.
Yeah. So you guys let us know. Remember, we keep wanting to hear that feedback and understanding what you guys want to hear, what you guys want to listen to. Yeah, that wraps it up.
All right,
See you guys on
that's
the
a
next
wrap.
one.